There is a date repeated in almost every short history of soap. Around 2800 BC, ancient Babylonians invented it. The date sounds wonderfully precise. The evidence isn't. What survives from the ancient world is not one invention moment. It is several different kinds of evidence. Chemical mixtures used on textiles, later written formulas, medicinal cleansers, and eventually something much closer to soap, as we use it on our own bodies today. We keep asking who invented soap as if it were a single invention. It may actually be several different discoveries separated by centuries that later got flattened into one tidy origin story. In 1957, the chemist and historian Martin Levy published his analysis of a Sumerian clay tablet from the ancient city of Girsu, generally dated to around 2500 BC. It describes combining specific quantities of oil and wood ash. Some historians consider it the oldest surviving written record of a controlled chemical reaction of any kind. According to that tablet and others like it, the resulting substance was not used to bathe. It was used to wash wool as part of preparing it for dyeing, removing the natural grease called lanolin that otherwise interferes with dye absorbing evenly into the fiber. A separate tablet, generally dated a few centuries later, around 2200 BC, describes a different formula, alkali combined with cassia oil. It is often cited alongside the Girsu tablet as if the two were part of one continuous recipe. They are not. They are two separate pieces of evidence from different times describing different formulas, and treating them as a single unbroken origin story flattens exactly the kind of nuance worth paying attention to. Here is where the popular story oversimplifies something genuinely interesting. Soap, in the strict chemical sense, is produced through a reaction called saponification. Fats react with an alkali to form fatty acid salts, what chemists actually call soap. Experimental archaeologists who have tried to recreate early wool washing methods have found a complication. An alkaline wash can remove grease from wool reasonably well without necessarily producing a substantial amount of saponified soap. In other words, some of what ancient texts describe as cleaning agents may not have been chemically identical to what we would now call soap at all. Exactly when and how someone first produced true saponified soap in a form recognizable today remains, honestly, an open question among researchers who study this material closely. For a very long stretch of this history, none of it had anything to do with personal hygiene. The earliest uses were industrial and textile focused, degreasing wool, preparing fibers for dye. Centuries later, around 1500 BC, Egyptian medical texts describe combining animal or vegetable fats with a natural alkaline salt called natron, but as a treatment for skin conditions, not routine washing. The idea of soap as something ordinary people used regularly to clean their own bodies took hold much later still. Clear evidence for soap-like substances being used directly on the body appears far later than the textile and medicinal uses. And even then, the practice varied enormously between regions and cultures. There is also a well-known origin legend involving a place called Mount Sapo, where animal sacrifices supposedly left fat and ash to wash down a hillside into a river, where women doing laundry noticed the mixture cleaned unusually well. It is a vivid story. It is also almost certainly a much later invention, and no credible archaeological or textual evidence supports it as history rather than folklore. The story is often repeated as a folk explanation for the word soap itself, not as a record of what actually happened. For thousands of years, people could learn how to make these mixtures work without understanding the molecular reason they worked. The modern explanation only came much later, once chemistry could describe it precisely. Soap molecules have a structure that lets one end attach to grease and the other to water, forming tiny clusters called micelles that trap grease and lift it away, allowing water to carry off something it normally couldn't touch on its own. For most of soap's history, people used it successfully without any version of that explanation available to them. Nobody can tell you with confidence who first discovered that fat and ash could be combined this way, or exactly when a rough cleaning agent for wool became something people used on their own skin. Even the most commonly repeated facts about its origin turn out, on close inspection, to blur several different discoveries into one tidy story. The evidence that survives is not a clean timeline. It is a handful of clay tablets spread across centuries, describing different things for different purposes, and the honest shape of what we can actually reconstruct from them.